What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I wanted to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's happening to the news affecting the markets as we have some big earnings that just came out, and how they may affect the market moving forward. But before I break things down all this information, before I talk about what I predict is going to pan out for tomorrow, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening to the market. Looking at the market thus far, NIO was holding up decently today. We saw this thing drop in the morning before trying to get bought back up as the market held up, and now we're up 1.6%. Now, Jerome Powell said a lot of things that caused the market to dip initially, but then the market started to hold up a little bit better today. And this is a little bit more, a little bit different from what I was anticipating. I'm willing to admit that. But now things are changing because of the big tech earnings, and this might actually help the market squeeze more. So I'm going to break down why this is something very big that just happened, as these big tech companies, some of them are making explosive moves. And this could lead to momentum that pushes the market up higher. That helps NIO, in my opinion. So why could the market actually push up tomorrow? Let's first go over some data. Tomorrow in the morning, we have the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate coming out. We watch to see what this looks like. And after all that data comes out, we also have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, the 5-year inflationary expectations, and such at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have some big data coming out. And then when it comes to the big tech earnings, we just had Apple, Amazon, and Meta announce their earnings. Apple ended up actually not giving us the best of earnings. They fell because of their weak iPhone sales, especially in China. But besides that, the earnings themselves were not that bad. EPS was a beat, revenue was a beat. You guys can see it right here. iPhone revenue was better than expected. Mac revenue was good. iPad revenue was a little bit weak, but everything else was very, very close to expectations, if not better, especially their margins. However, despite that, uh, when it comes to their Chinese sales, they were actually down quite a bit. They weren't the strongest overall because of some new regulations and such. So this is going to be very important when you look at their quarterly net sales. Not the strongest of growth we were looking for, and this is why Apple's down just a little bit, despite the fact that they actually beat on earnings. But here's the thing right here. Apple showed a 13% decline in sales in China, one of its most important markets. And with this weakening of sales that has been projected, this is not the best of news for Apple. That's why Apple's down just a little bit. Right now, let me just go over this. Apple is down only about 3%. It's not that bad, but here's the reason why this is not going to affect the market that badly, in my opinion, because Amazon is up 14%, better than expected results. Revenue is up like crazy. Amazon was up like crazy. I'm sorry, Amazon was up 8%. Revenue was up 14%, guys. I apologize about that. EPS was a beat. Revenue was a beat. Web services did relatively well. Advertising was doing well. Everything was quite good so far. And their outlook for 2024 has been quite decent. We're going to be looking for more efficiencies to be made. So, not bad whatsoever, especially with this big growth in revenue. And we're looking for 27% growth year over year, which is not bad. So, good earnings from Amazon. Amazon is actually trumping Apple in this sense because when I pull up the chart down here, we're up 7.2% right now. We're holding up very nicely. Amazon is making a bigger move than Apple, and this is helping us. And then you also have Meta. It is up 14%. Meta is exploding. So out of the big tech earnings, Apple was just down 3%. Amazon is up almost 8%. Meta is up 14%. You could see the two out of three of the big tech earnings were very, very strong. The companies are exploding, and that's enough to actually trump what Apple is causing and actually help the market more, in my opinion. So why is Meta exploding? The shares are up 15% after profit triples, and the company announces its first ever dividend, which is huge, huge, huge news. They beat on EPS, they beat on revenue. Daily active users are better than expected. Monthly active users is better than expected, and their average revenue per user is going up. That's good for them. Guidance is not bad, not to mention the new dividend. Bullish, bullish, bullish news for Meta. That's why Meta is exploding. As far as NIO goes, we got the numbers for January. We actually saw 10,000 deliveries, which is not bad whatsoever, a slight improvement from what we saw previously. But I do want to call out that this is just comparing January 2023 to the January 2024. Their sales are technically down over 30% relative to what we saw Before, it's actually 40% compared to December of 2023, but we're still over 10,000, so not the worst. And January is usually not the strongest month. Same thing with February, as we have, as we're getting closer to the holiday, and the big difference tends to happen because the sales increase so much in December. So it's no surprise that this is panning out. But in total, we got a total of 459,000 deliveries, strong amounts of deliveries. And we actually have the chart right over here. We have more numbers about that. So we had a strong amount of deliveries, about over 459,000 overall. And NIO still has potential, in my opinion. We could also see this growth relative to the previous year is not that bad, and it's trying to maintain its strength, which is looking pretty good. NIO, in my opinion, it's not profitable yet, but there is good growth in the company, in the sales. This is some good news. This is why NIO closed green for today. I think that there's more potential for green, especially if we follow the market. NIO had 51 million in volume, a little bit less than what we saw on average, but the short volume is dropping, and we're getting some neutral ratings from other companies. The price price ratio is also dropping as NIO is losing some strength, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. Also, when it comes to seasonality, don't forget that for February, NIO tends to be green a little bit more. We tend to have a better month than March. February is right here, guys. Sorry about that. February is green 50%, but for Fridays, we also tend to be green 53% of the time. So I'll be watching for this very carefully. What do I see for the share price? Considering that the market might push tomorrow, here's what I'm basically eyeing. I think SPY is looking very bullish. We're going to likely break a new all-time high. We might see a short squeeze. Why are we going to see a squeeze? Because now when you look at the options, we have a new positioning that's been made. A 2.33 puts to call ratio, it's 850,000 puts expiring, and about 365,000 calls expiring. The 2.33 puts to call ratio might cause a short squeeze. We might see SPY approach 495, possibly get very close to 500 tomorrow. We're turning bullish on the 4 hour. Going to be looking for a push tomorrow. 495 is my target. If it breaks that, there's 497, then 500. For Tesla, SPY might drag Tesla up. We might see Tesla try to push up towards 190 all over again. If we break that, we could be approaching the 4 hour 50 EMA at 196. We also have this big gap to fill. We might see Tesla get very close to 200 to at least 196.9. Look for a nice push on Tesla. For Apple, we're down a little bit, I know, but we're still trying to hover around this 180 area. We will see if Apple could hold that support. If we fail to do so, 178 is going to be our next target. As of right now, it's shuffling around 180. We'll see if this holds. So we're still waiting for this. But despite that, the QQQ is still being overwhelmed by Amazon and Meta. QQQ, it's trying to push. Going to be looking for this thing to break 427. If this breaks, we're going to be looking for a test of 430, if not higher levels. We look bullish on the 4 hour. We're going to look for another push up towards 430. We're still favoring the bulls. Nvidia is trying to make another new all-time high. Going to be looking for 642. If we break that, 645 is coming. We're getting a bullish cross in the PPO. It's looking kind of bullish. This is favoring the bulls a bit more. And then don't forget about our main stocks which are running right now. We also have Amazon and Meta. Amazon is now up over 8%, still pushing, still showing life. Meta is up 14%. It's still holding up very nicely. Going to look for more upside tomorrow, which could drag the market up higher. So that's it for the main five I typically go over. What do I see for NIO? Once again, I would say that NIO looks bullish. I think NIO is going to try to get a push to the upside with bullish crossover on the PPO and this liquidity grab down here at 5.43. Going to be looking for a test of 5.83. If we break this, $6 should be coming again. We're about to get a bullish cross on the PPO on the 4 hour. So look for a temporary push. I think we might try to get back to at least 5.8 and eventually closer to $6. Going to be looking for a small rebound. I think the market pushing could drag NIO up, so I'll be watching this very, very carefully. But with that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again, and peace out.